What's up, my beautiful people? This is your girl Jada, and I have Tay and Thomas and a special guest at the table today, y'all. We have a very, very great interview for y'all today, and we have some really juicy stuff to talk to y'all about. You know, we the Vill, so we gonna bring y'all the good, juicy stuff. So today, let's start off with something interesting. I think that we all have seen this on Twitter and on Instagram, where everybody's like, "I'm this old." Like, when we we want to bring back the That's So Ravens. We want to bring back the Skittles that was black. Y'all remember them Skittles?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Or the hot Cheetos that was in the circles, that was in them little tubs. Like, y'all remember that? But we definitely want to just see how old are we? Like, let's go back. What you remember that ain't here anymore?
Do y'all remember those Hubba Bubba gum? Remember they was in the little gallons, and the little things, and it was like
Yes.
a powder, and you could pour it in your hand and pour as much as you want. I remember those.
You don't?
I remember Bazooka, and they had the little
They still got those.
We still got
them. Bazookas ain't went nowhere now. They ain't went nowhere.
They ain't went nowhere.
We got the Cheetos, the Cheeto Puff Balls,
Cheeto
in the
Puff
little
Balls,
containers.
yeah.
Those was busting.
They still got the jugs, the little jugs.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, with the little pop balls. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
No, the little juice jugs.
Oh, they still got them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They ain't never.
Oh yeah.
gone
I
nowhere.
don't think them was going nowhere. Them at Sam's.
Yeah. Yeah, and they at the corner store.
Yeah, they at the corner store.
Just at the bottom of the refrigerator. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I was talking to him a couple days ago about TiVo. Like, I remember back when you had to be sitting in front of the.
We had basic cable. We ain't buy.
He was like, I ain't had TiVo. But I remember that. Like, I remember having to sit in front of the TV and literally having to record it without being there. With having to record it while being there instead of like actually having to like being able to record it while you're gone and stuff. Like, I thought that was a luxury, literally, like having TiVo, you know?
Or how about this? How about this? Everybody shut up. I gotta get this on my ringtone and turn it.
Oh, I definitely had my ringtone recorded on my Nokia.
Yo.
I definitely did. It was, and I never forget. Like,
Nokia.
oh yeah, it was.
Nokia.
It was a Jamie Foxx song. I think it was "Blame It on the Alcohol." I had it. Oh, I used to love that song. It was the 5th grade. I'll never forget it.
That is funny.
We had
What's
"Blame
the
It on
old
the
TV
Alcohol."
show y'all remember?
All that, you know.
All that.
Oh yeah, all
Always.
that.
I like Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the
I don't know
Bell,
if y'all
yeah,
remember
that was cool. That wasn't our time, but it was definitely
I remember
a childhood.
Cat Dog. I remember Caillou.
Rugrats. Oh, the skateboarding kids.
Rocket Power.
Rocket Power.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I don't-
Teletubbies. Are they still playing Teletubbies?
Teletubbies was always a little weird.
Wild
They
Thornberries.
used to scare me a little bit.
Why scared
It was just weird. Like
I
was
used to
like,
love
I think
Teletubbies,
Courage the Cowardly
y'all.
Dog. Y'all remember
That shit?
Kind
Yeah.
of scared me when I was younger. But I
that was
loved it, though.
scary. It was very demonic.
I remember Spy Kids. Like, I
Spy
remember going
Kids,
to the movies to
oh.
see Spy Kids.
Oh, do y'all remember what's the damn thing when they was in space? The movie Xenon.
Oh,
Yeah, that was my shit.
that was it, y'all.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I remember they need to bring back some of this stuff. Like, I remember with them. I remember when kids meals used to be like so involved. Like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was so much more than what
Oh,
it
they
was
knew
now. Like,
the Disney movies that was coming out. They knew
yeah,
it was on.
like
Disney,
kids
like-
meals was serious.
Now,
Like,
even remember even the cereal boxes. Remember they used to have the little watches and stuff in the cereal box.
remember box
Used to be
tops?
about to
Where we
fight.
used to have to cut the box tops.
Put them in a
Never did that.
Ziploc bag so you can have a piece of. Look, the class with the most box tops got a pizza party and shit. Yeah. My class will never win.
Yeah,
you
never
know.
happened for me.
Nah,
But-
I always remember it like 2 days before the last day and bring in like 5 box tops. and be
Yes.
like, hey,
Oh,
look,
my
It
gosh.
is.
But I guess that will tell y'all how old we are. I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
gonna be some people listening. It's like, wait, I don't know what any of this stuff is.
Exactly.
But this stuff was
Wait.
it.
How about the orange VHS? Y'all remember the orange colored VHS for Nickelodeon
had that.
movies? Y'all
Yeah,
remember
had
that?
I did not have an orange one. I
No,
had
I
a VHS.
think-
I don't know
I
how to.
think I remember that.
Come on, y'all.
I remember like an orange thing for
the case be orange.
Oh,
for the
nah,
mo-
you lost me on
Cause you
that
know you
one.
had them big old like plastic cases for the VHS. Wow, come on.
I
man.
had a VHS. I just don't remember the Nickelodeon VHS.
That's all it is. He's just a little bit older.
just a
That's
little
all it
bit.
is.
Yeah, we was.
Yeah, that was a little.
We was in diapers.
Yeah, not for that
We
one.
got
I'm
much
just
left.
laughing.
I'm
what
just sitting
you
back
remember?
laughing. Because we used to have like 4 TV stations growing up
Damn.
in the 70s.
Four?
Only 4.
Goodness gracious. I don't know what I'm
ABC, CBS, NBC, and then
that's it.
That was
That's it.
Hey, you know it's funny.
Just watching news.
My mama was like, she
You
remember
said
when
my
the-
mama,
Yeah,
right?
my mama.
My
She remember
mama.
when the first color TV came out, you had to put a little dome over top of the TV to give it some
Right.
color.
Oh,
Old
Lord.
school.
Oh wow.
Oh, Lord.
Couldn't imagine.
I remember the antennas. Like, I remember seeing
Yeah, I
TVs
remember
with
the
antennas.
antennas,
I
yeah.
remember that, but I don't think it goes back no further. Like, I don't remember a TV without a remote. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what that life is like.
But it's
But-
if it's interesting because just remember how programmed people were because there were only 3
Yeah, so
stations. Right now,
you got
you
on
know,
3 point of views.
now you have 1,000 stations.
Yeah.
So
Plus
Yeah.
social media now and YouTube
the internet,
and the internet. So it's like most people don't even like a lot of kids. Like my brother, my mom asked him, did he want a cable box in his room? And he was like, no. Like he watched
Ain't no need
YouTube.
for it.
Well,
Really.
see,
He
that's
watch
the
YouTube.
thing.
He don't watch cable.
Yeah, and I
Like,
think that, I mean, the not having TV in the room, I think that it's just converting. For all we're doing is converting our like television and the broadcasting and the streaming, and that's
Yeah.
just all going into that direction. So eventually, the TV and the stuff is just gonna go away, and we just all gonna be watching
Wow.
stuff through streaming.
Yeah.
and,
true.
And honestly, I don't know if that's better
Yeah.
because it does give us a little bit more access to whatever
Yeah.
we want to watch, and that kind of scares me because I don't know if I want my child growing up in a world where he can watch whatever he want without any kind of control that we have
Yeah.
over it. Because I mean, if it's on the internet, it's free for anybody
yeah.
to really see.
Yeah,
you know?
anybody can pull that up.
But yeah. So yeah,
Crazy stuff, man.
yeah. I mean, I think we definitely going into an era where it's gonna start. That life is definitely gonna start getting easier, but at what cost?
Yeah.
That's
So-
right. That's so true.
Yeah, but so also we're gonna move on to the next topic. The importance of networking. I think that this is something that we should definitely cover because I think when it comes down to networking, that's really where it's very important because it's definitely a tool to use when you want to get somewhere that you don't really know how to get to, or you don't really know how to do the stuff in order to get to the places where you want to go. And a lot of times you do need networking to do that. And I know everybody's always saying, okay, I want to network here. I want to learn how to do that. Or I know everybody's always saying like, okay, you need to network. But do you really know how to do it?
That's
Because
a
there
very
is a
good point.
way to network with people. Like there isn't, it's not just as easy as walking up to someone and saying, oh, hi, I'm this person, you know?
Yeah.
It does take some kind of, I think that it does take some kind of level of you kind of knowing how to do it, how to
Yeah,
introduce
it's a
myself,
skill.
you know?
Yeah.
It's definitely a skill. So when it comes down to networking, I think that the importance of it is so major just because like I can't even name you a thing that I have done that I personally think is like a really big achievement that I didn't get through networking, you know?
Yeah.
So I see the importance of it, but when it comes down to like people in high school and everything, like it's still important. Like, just because we're in college doesn't mean it's only important to us. It's
Yeah.
also important to high schoolers, you know?
Exactly.
And I found that out because I mean, I the only reason why I know how to graphic design, the only reason why I know how to do a lot of the stuff that I know how to do is because I actually had to network. I had to go in these
Yeah.
programs and I had to learn how to do that.
Yeah,
So-
Jada ran Dutchtown High School when we went. She was every goddamn thing. She did the damn senior trip. She did the senior activities.
I
She was
wanted the
president.
people-
She was in the principal office.
I
Like,
was,
had
but
the,
look,
she had the
y'all.
whole thing
Threats.
on
I'm one
lock.
of them type of people. If I
See?
want to change something, I'm gonna be the person to
Yeah.
change it. Like I was one of those type of person. If I wanted to do something, I would tell my principal.
Yeah.
I said, okay, you know, I'm gonna get this done. I just
Yeah.
need you to help me do it.
Yeah.
But because I've always been the type of person. Like everybody was always tell me, you're so small. Why you always running around running things? And I used to be like I don't see anything going like with my age being anything to stopping me. I
Yeah.
don't see my size stopping me. I don't see any of that stuff because I believed like, okay, it didn't matter that I was in high school. I knew
Yeah.
that I still had some kind of influence on whatever I wanted to do. I just had to be the person to say, okay, I'm gonna be the one to plan this, I'm gonna be the one to
Yeah.
implement this, and I'm gonna be the one to help fund it. So how
Yeah.
we gonna do it?
Yeah.
Who taught you how important networking is?
Who? My sister, my older sister, she's a chemical engineer graduate from Georgia Tech. We had her on the show earlier, but she really taught me how to do that because I started realizing that she had said one day it was at her honestly it was at her graduation party, and when she had she had stood up and she did her speech and she had thanked everybody for all the stuff they had helped her with, because she said that she would not have been in the position that she's in today if someone did not put their hands
so true.
on the work on her life or in it to even get her in the room, because you have to think like, yeah, we have the talent, but we got to get through that door.
Yeah.
And only certain people can really help us get through that door. And it doesn't matter how smart you are, how much of a genius you are, how much talent that you have. Sometimes you gonna need help, you know? And I think it was really her breaking down that barrier and saying, okay, I'm going to not be afraid to say I need help, because that's really
Yeah.
what it is. You can't really just say, okay, I know how to do everything, because it's never gonna work that way. Like
Yeah.
we always, everybody needs somebody,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
think that's what that
Well,
means.
it's interesting with your sister. I mean, she's in chemical engineering, like as a person of color, but also as a woman. The doors that have been slammed
Right.
in her face about trying to get resources, especially at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So hats off to her and
Definitely.
recognizing that.
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really understand the importance of networking until I got to college. I would say really around like my sophomore year is when I understood like, hey, you need to get your ass out there. Like you need to start talking to people, and it started connecting me to different things. Like for instance, with Chip, like I would have never, if it had not been for me going out and being in BSA, then going to Office of Black Student Achievement and just talking to people, I would have never met Chip. And Chip put me on to was like, hey, go meet this lady, go to her, email
You
her,
need that,
go to lunch with her, XYZ. And I
you
was just
never
like,
knew where that came
okay. And it ended up like I got the chance to go to a whole nother country on the other side of the world, like that I never thought I would be able to do. So it all came because of networking. So just like letting people see how great you are, because it's different when they see your name on a piece of paper and you're applying for something, but when they can see your face and you build a relationship with that person, they're willing to go the extra mile for you. So that really opened my eyes, and he really was like took networking to a whole nother level for me and made me really understand how important that was, because before I was thinking, like, yeah, with like even like with jobs and stuff like that, I thought like the usual person thing, you get 4 years, you graduate, and then you go apply for a job, and I'm realizing like that shit is not how it
Don't
works.
work.
Don't
Most of the
work
people with
that
these
way.
good
White
jobs,
boy.
yeah, like you gotta really network, and you gotta know people that's like Kayla was saying, like that's willing to put their name on the line for you.
Yeah.
Because if not, like most of the times we don't know. In our family, we don't have people who's working in chemical engineering that can open those doors. Like in my immediate family, like sometimes you don't have that accountant, or you don't have that CEO, or like anything that you want to do. You don't have that in your inner circle a lot of
gotta
times,
step
especially
out.
when you're black or brown. So like that networking is so key. So like that's so
But I want to
important.
push, and I'm going to ask all three of you. I'm going to ask you first. What was your first and second job, and how did you get it? So I'm going to push it all around. I just want you guys to understand the power of your own network.
My first job was actually Wingstop when I was in high school.
I remember.
And what's crazy, I never really thought about it until you just asked me. The manager was trying to flirt with my mom when she walked in. And my mom was like, my son needs a job, so is there any way that you can help him out with a job? And I actually got the job the next day.
Mama networking.
Mama
That's
network.
it, that?
Mama
Mama
network. Nah, that
network.
mama
Mama
network.
did that
That
network.
mama network something serious though, for real.
real, that mama
mama
network.
network. Hey,
My
So-
second job was actually at the Braves Stadium, and that was actually my cousin put me on. when I was in high
See,
school.
I want people to realize, I mean, we do have networks.
Yes.
Just want to hear what yours is, first two jobs.
Ooh, I don't remember my second one. But I'm trying to remember my first one. My first one was
Nothing.
it was Sky Zone. Yes, that was my first ever job. That was through
Nice.
Sky Zone, and they came to McDonald's for the first time, and I actually got that one through my teacher. They had done were telling people about it, and they had she told me to go to this, and I would have never known about it if she didn't tell me about it. My second job, oh Jesus, what was my second job? I believe that my second job was Old Navy. Yeah, it was Old Navy. And I got that one through one of my friends. His mom was a manager there.
Oh, see?
got it.
See? Do you see that? I just want y'all to realize we do have some networks.
yeah,
Definitely.
my first two jobs was just really just from like me calling. Like I was like I was just
still
once I turned
networking,
16,
though.
once I turned it was when I turned 17, I was just like, I need some extra money. I'm tired of selling candy at school. I ain't
Selling
trying to
candy,
I was selling-
the
I had
master
to-
hustle.
Hey, they'll
Yeah.
tell you not.
For
I
real.
was official with it. I had
He
a
was.
menu.
He
I had
was.
my duffel bag. I used to freeze the little Lipton teas in the morning,
Yo.
and I used to have it in my book bag. So by second period, it's a slushy. Everybody
He
going
was sold
crazy.
out. He
I was
was
sold
sold
out.
out.
I remember I had
Like-
math with Jada second period. It was junior year.
Was
I used to have. They used to be
mad.
like, Thomas, you got them teas. You got them teas. I'm like, nah, they sold out. While I'm drinking the last one, got the little slushy, and I had a menu. I was like, what you want? We got the Snickers.
It
We got the
was
honey
it.
buns. We got. Hey, I was not
It
playing,
was
but I was
it.
like, I'm tired of going through all of this. Teachers harassing me like, don't be
course.
selling in my class, and then other teachers was cool. Some of the teachers was buying from me,
Yeah.
so it was cool. I just wanted to be like,
I'm a
I
candy
want some
pusher.
more money. I was like tired of going to the stores and stuff like that. So
Hey,
I
fam,
just
I got what
called
you need,
Zaxby's.
fam. I got what you need, fam.
exactly. So I just called up Zaxby's, ended up getting an interview. The next one I was tired of Zaxby's. I called Marshall's and they did open interviews. So that's how I got my first two jobs. But
Where'd you get your jobs?
Week before graduation, high school graduation, my dad didn't let me work for whatever reason in high school. But week before graduation, my family was shopping. We was in this little corner store called Rue 21. Turned out it was like a big franchise for the country, and this cute little cashier was trying to get me to buy some fragrance, and I was just you almost got me, but I want a job.
Right.
And so she was like, well, we hiring. I was like, bet. So I pulled up with a suit, like a damn near suit and tie on, everything but the jacket. And she was like, yeah, you got it. And then after that,
just want to see you look nice.
Basically. And then after that, I was there for almost a year. And then after that, I did another retail job since I had experience. Was PacSun and in the mall in Kennesaw. Wow. And then from there, but yeah. That was my 2 jobs.
I'm gonna tell you mine real quick.
Just smiling.
Okay.
I was like 13 years old, and I think I asked my dad for some money for allowance and all that. He was like, shoot, when I was 13 years old, I used to have a paper route. I used to walk dogs. I used to rake leaves. I used to shovel snow. What you mean? You better go get your own job. And I'm like, Dad, come on. And so I decided to go down the street, and it was McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people start off at McDonald's.
And I worked at McDonald's, and I walked in. I was 13 years old, but I was a big-ass 13, so you know what I mean? I lied about my age. So it was down the street, and the lady, you know, I have a dimple under here. So the lady saw my dimple. She was like, I'm going to hire you. And I came back with a job the next day, and my dad was like, oh, all right. But the second job I'll tell you quickly is that in high school, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I worked at Polaroid as an engineering intern.
Damn.
And it was interesting because this is like the late 80s. But, you know, I'm going to tell you what minimum wage was back in the 80s. You guys are going to fall out, right? Nope.
Less.
$3.40 an hour.
Oh my God.
What you want to do with $3.40?
No,
$3.40 an hour, and then Reagan came and you know he got it up to like $3.75, and everyone was like clapping. But we won't go there. But let me tell you, right?
Not back on the block.
That's why y'all were candy pushing, all right? But I'm gonna tell you, right? At this job, I was a junior in high school, and you guys don't fall out. They hired me because of the school counselor told me they were trying to get, you know, community people to start working at corporations in town and so forth. They gave me the college student rate. So at 15 years old, I was making $15 an hour in the 80s.
That's a lot now.
Okay, first of all, that's a lot. That's a lot now.
Yeah. Hell.
So for you to be in the
80s, I was making $15 an hour. So I bought all my friends. I had all the sneakers.
You was doing it.
But I'm just telling you. So, but those resources, those are the things you're talking about networking. Like, you know, think about all the kids and all these corporations that are here in the town that, you know, young people just don't have opportunities
Exactly. And then also I think that's also important when it comes down to networking is not burning bridges, because I'm going to tell you about this job I had recently got almost about 6 months ago. But it's Mercedes-Benz, and I had walked into my training for my orientation training, and the person that was doing the training was my teacher from middle school.
Wow.
Y'all. First of all, I would have never like even known that. Like, imagine if I had like a bad relationship with her while I was in school, and like she had walked in there and she had seen me, and she could have done like so many things to like pretty much stop my my progressiveness in that company, and she didn't. Like, that connection with her has helped me to get in even further positions that I want to get in when it comes down to Mercedes-Benz. But if I would have like burnt bridges with her and I would have been like a horrible student or whatever
you weren't a little ratchet little middle school. You didn't have a 1 year being a little ratchet girl. Come on now.
A teacher's pet.
All right, you weren't ratchet.
I was one of them. But I just really at that moment. We all did. We all did. Okay, but it was at that moment that I really realized that like really how important it is to really not burn bridges, because I did not know I was gonna come back in contact with this lady from middle school, y'all. Like, I mean, that was years ago, but I think that that's definitely important to understand that you may not think that you have a connection with somebody that has been other places, but that you have. Like, my middle school teacher is now working at Mercedes-Benz in HR. Like
Yeah.
that
That's
is
nice.
huge. Like, so I think that it's definitely, don't discount any relationship that you have with anybody,
Yeah.
because you never know where that relationship can take you and how important that relationship might be to you and where you want to go in life.
But
Yeah,
there's
we
some
said
really
a lot.
good modeling. But right now there's a lot of kids out there, like, there's some really good modeling what parents have. But I saw a woman at Georgia State University. She might have been 30 years, but I think she was 31 years old, and she went to financial aid for her son. And I think she might have had her son at 14 or something.
Oh,
But
wow.
sometimes these kids got Cookie as a mom from what's it called. So she walked up in there, was like, "Where they at? Who's the one that said you ain't got no financial aid? I ain't going nowhere." Like, she tore that place up. But
wow.
and he was just like, "Oh,
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
here she go again." But some people, young people just don't have those, kind of don't know how to burn bridges or so.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So-
It's a skill.
It's definitely a skill, but
Yeah.
I just think that it's just talking. Honestly, it really has a lot to do with talking and opening up to people. I
Yeah.
think that because if they don't know what you want, there's no way that they're going to be able to just
Help you.
automatically help
Yeah.
you. Like, it's not possible. If you don't ask, there's no way you're going to receive. And I think that that's also important, because I also had to have a talk with myself to say, okay, Jerry, it's okay to ask for help. It's
Yeah.
okay
That's
to not
wild.
know what you're doing. Like, I'm at the age where I'm not gonna know what I'm doing most of the time, but
Yeah.
I think that once I realize, okay, when I'm asking for help, all this is doing is just reinforcing myself so that I am able to know what I'm doing. Because if you go out there alone, all you have is your own mindset to really think about, because
Yeah.
you don't have anybody else helping you bring in other mindsets in to really open your mind to other things, because you don't know really at this stage in life. I really realized that I don't know really what I want when it comes down to like the job specifically,
Yeah.
but I do know the direction that I want to
Yeah,
go in, and
exactly.
that's good enough for me. As long as I have that direction and I have people that are helping me move me
And a
in this
plan.
in this
Yeah.
area, then that's cool. But I think that it weighs a lot of what my decision weighs on comes down to like what I feel like people that are already in the position that I want to be in. I listen to them and I want to hear what you want to do, because you there already. So that
Exactly.
means you done did something right.
Exactly.
And I'm trying to get there. So I think that it just has to do a lot with taking all that pride out.
Yeah.
It's just saying, okay, I need the help, and I'm gonna take it from whoever I can get it from. And you also have to be open to
Yeah.
taking it from other people, because like kind of like what Ali was saying. Like, he was saying pretty much how you have to be open to getting advice from your professors, even though
Yeah.
you might not like them, but they know what they talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's just being open to getting information. The
Why I
information
get a
that you
D?
need.
Why I get a D on my paper? I don't like that professor.
Yeah, it's like they here to help you. That's what they
Yeah.
get paid for. So
Exactly.
if you don't
Exactly.
take advantage of that,
Well, I would always tell people when I teach at Georgia State as well, is like, I say, you know what a D is? A D is feedback. It's called feedback, and it
You're
gives
right.
you information. So why don't you look at the things that you got wrong and review it, and it tells you great information about who you are. So don't look at it as a detriment. This is feedback.
That's it. I like that. It's grades or feedback. I like that, because that definitely changes. Because I think that people put definitely a negative connotation on grades, and like, okay,
Yeah.
and then they pretty much boiled it down to either you're smart or you're stupid. I don't think
That's
it's that simple.
It's not.
It's
right.
definitely not. I love that you said that. Like, it's definitely just feedback on telling you what you need to work on the next
That's
time.
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But okay, we're gonna move on to the next one. So outgrowing friendships, you guys. I think that this is definitely something that we are all reaching when we come down to the age especially when we get into high school and then convert from high school to college.
yeah.
You lose friends there, but then I think once you're really in college, that's when outgrowing friendships really does
Yeah.
happen. And I think about the fact of being comfortable with it,
Yeah.
because I think that a lot of times when I'm thinking about it and I'm like texting back friends that I haven't talked to in like months, I feel the pushback from them, because they feel like, oh, well, you're doing all these other different things, but I don't want them to feel as if I am pushing them away because I feel like I'm too good, but it's really
But you
more
are.
so.
Let's own the energy.
But I definitely, but I don't know. See, here's my problem. Let me tell you where I don't know where to cross the line is. I don't want to lose a friendship based off just because I want to elevate myself. Because just because we're not on the same level doesn't necessarily mean that I don't still have love for you. But at the same time, you know how your mom always says birds of a feather flock together?
Yep.
I don't want a lot of that stuff to be, a
To
lot of
wear
their
off on
bad
you.
habits to wear off on me. But at the same time, this relates to the relationship that I've had for my whole life.
Yeah.
So that's where I think outgrowing friendship becomes uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When you have a friend that's not willing to change. So let's say they're that chicken that wants to stay on the ground and you want to be an eagle. Well, if that chicken's like, I'm cool down here and I don't want to trade my chicken wings in for eagle wings like you, then you got to be like, well, you do that. I'm a fly high.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
That's right.
So somebody said the 5 people you are the common denominator of the 5 people you hang around the most. Meaning that if you hang around millionaires, you're going to be millionaire. You're going to have thought processes and actions like a millionaire. If you hang around elite athletes and you want to be a great athlete, you're going to have thought processes, practices, and you're going to be conditioning yourself to be an elite athlete. That's just how it works.
I mean, my PhD is in sociology, so you're just really talking about the whole main how people form opinions and so forth. You know, you just think about your own neighborhood and how, you know, how your family forms opinions, how people in your school form opinions and so forth. It's reinforced and all these different things. And groupthink, how you guys think in groups and how behaviors supported and not supported. But it's interesting. Is there like, is his name Young? Who's the guy that dresses very fluid?
Young
like,
Thug.
I think it's Young Thug.
Young
like,
Thug, yeah.
There was this hope. I don't follow him, so you guys might have to put in. But it's interesting. Like I heard that he said when he first came out, he had to be somebody else, and then somebody called Jeffrey showed up, or do you know what I mean? But this is really his true self. But in order to get funding and be supported,
He has
that
to
he
be
had
Young Thug, but he likes going back to being Wycliffe and all that type of stuff like that. He likes going back to his heritage and talking like that, but he know he won't make money like that, so he has to do what's out there for everybody else, the mainstream media, the type of music that everybody gonna like. So I don't know. I feel like that's crazy too, but I see where you're coming from.
And then I think it's also when it comes down to I don't know if, and this just might be a me thing, but what a lot of the times it's harder for me to move on from friendships because I love to bring people up with me.
Yeah.
I'm never one of those type of people that like to. I don't like climbing that ladder by myself. So I'm that type of person that if I see somebody like down there, like I'm like, oh, nah, you coming with me because I care enough about you that I don't care if I gotta force you to come with me. Like, and that's just kind of how. I don't know what's been geared into my mind to make me feel like I can't be here by myself, but it kind of bothers me when I have somebody that I care about so much, and I want to bring them up with me, but I know that that's not where they're at in their life right now.
Well, you know, there's some people that and I know my own neighbors growing up, like going out of Bankhead is like going out of space. Yeah, it's like an astronaut. Like for you to say, "Hey, meet me down at Battery Park down here," and they're like, "What are you talking about?" So for some people, those comfort zones are just totally like, listen, it's like them, you know, going in a rocket and going into space. So we got to really kind of understand that, like, you know, all of you guys are pretty much networkers. You guys are here. You're able to move and make different things, but some people just aren't built like that. Yeah. But the thing is, I'm gonna say real quickly is about risk taking, and how many times as young people have you been recorded, have been supported for taking risks, and actually as black kids, you know, you know, if a white kid takes a risk in their third grade, they're like, oh, he's a leader, you know what I mean? But a black kid takes a risk in the class, detention, suspension, and so it's your questions about. And I want you to push your friends on that about risk taking. How have you been rewarded and how have you been punished?
That's my issue. I feel like I'm only punished for my risk taking. I don't feel like I'm ever rewarded for my risk taking. So I feel like one of my biggest issues in life is like quitting on things. I finally quit one time on thing, and I feel like it just took a major effect on everything else in my life. Like my confidence and everything, just how I am, how I walk, talk, everything. So I definitely for where you come from on that, because I just haven't seen the benefits from risk taking. But I know they say there's benefits from risk taking, but it's just like, I don't know where risks I should be taking, which ones I should just be like, all right, maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm just in my feelings, maybe I just need to keep taking risks. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you, $3.65 an hour to $15 an hour when I was 15 years old told me to take some damn risks. And they're worth it.
Definitely.
So, but think about it. If you went up for it and didn't get the job or thinking like that, like if you kept on trying to apply for these places,
But what's
what
your
does that do?
background?
What's my background?
As far as like your family, where you from, like how
I'm
was you
from
living?
Boston, Massachusetts, but it's interesting. I grew up in Cambridge, which Harvard and MIT, and they have a lot of corporations there. So it's also about zip code. I want you to think about the zip code. I want you to think about the zip code, and also for you guys about counties, because one county over here and next to the other county, you know, your life expectancy can be 15 years. Your the schooling amount could be another $12,000 by those two counties. So it's those kind of opportunities. So I hear you, you know, with your family background and all that other stuff, because all those pieces come into pieces of how you're actually able to, you know, get information. Like in Boston, in
And
Massachusetts,
how they support you.
you. You're right.
I
That's
don't
very
feel like I got
true.
a lot of support.
Do you see what I mean? Because, you know, you got to think about what is the mentality of your family members and also being supported in risk taking. Have they've also been cut off by the legs by taking risks? And you know what? That stuff, you know, sometimes with family and friends, my family and friends even too, like bad energy, like they throw it on, it stays on your clothes, it stays on the wall,
On your mirror.
and, you know, you're walking around, and it's
Because it's the people that's closest to you. Those are the ones that's going to affect you the most. I mean, it's the people that's closest to you. So that energy that they feel, you going to automatically feel it. As soon as you realize that it's there, it's going to come on you
That's
because
right.
they're
And it walks on
closest
you.
to you. Yeah.
And you're like,
I do
what's-
agree with that.
so
Definitely.
good pieces.
I feel you. I took a risk, like, because I had left Tuskegee, like, for football, and that was, like, everything to me. Football was, like, everything. That's how my family came together. That's, like, how my mom used to cheer for me and all that type of stuff. That's the only time I used to hear that type of stuff.
Wow.
You feel me? Yeah, so I kind of let that go, but, like, I really don't like talking to my mom or my grandma, nothing like that. I feel like I let them down. I don't like talking to my brother. I don't like seeing their faces. I really don't like going home or nothing like that. I just feel like I took a risk, and it was, like, a big risk, and everybody would depend on me to do something. And just because it got hard for me one time in life, it kind of just messed up everything else. So I
Well,
just
it's interesting for African American males, sports is the way that we get support and gratification and feelings, you know what I mean? And also through music and so forth. But, you know, if you're trying to pursue your other interests, it's not kind of like, what are you trying to do, you know? Like,
But how do you find them interests? You feel me? Like, how do you?
I feel like those
You're right,
interests,
bro.
it got to be introduced to you like in your childhood, like that. It's okay. That's why one thing I'm pushing to is like expose children to more.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, especially for black males, athletes and music and rappers, that's the highlight. So that's what we see as the pinnacle of success. We don't see that, hey, there's a banker over here, an investment banker that's making more than that athlete, and that's more. It has more stability and control over their career, and or it's a lawyer over here, or even people that don't want to be. Like you can be a manager somewhere, you can learn a trade, you could be an electrician, and you could turn those things into businesses that make money. But it got to start with normalizing those things as success.
Yes.
We got to normalize the different career paths that you can take, because kids think, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a. But there's way more to that. So what it is we're not exposed to as much. So we don't find what we're interested in at that young age. So for a lot of people, like you were saying, once the football thing don't work, you just sitting there like, what the fuck is next?
This is what everyone's told me to do.
Yeah, and also that's what you're conditioned. That's what people are telling you too. So I think it's gonna come with like we just gotta make sure we getting exposure for like our youth, and even not just the youth, but like our age too. We still gotta expose ourselves to so many different things. Like before high school and stuff, I didn't know what the hell an accountant was, like what they really did, and like I didn't know what a finance major did. I didn't know what a hospitality, like all of that it just was based off my exposure. And once I got into school and started like talking to people and doing different stuff is when I came up on like the different opportunities. So
yeah, and I definitely think that it comes down to, because I know the answer is never like really there, because like a lot of the times like I have the same issue that you may have when it comes down to direction, but it's a little bit different, because like mine is now so more where it's the issue of I have so many things that I can do, and I have so many things that God has blessed me with the talents to be able to do that I don't know what I want to do. And that is an issue in itself, because I don't know what I should be focused on. I really don't. But at the same time, it always comes down to really what I am passionate about, and what keeps me up at night. What's that thing that is definitely what makes me happy. And I think that what it really boils down to is having those different, my mom always put me every summer, every break that I had in school, I was in a different program. And I was learning how to sing, I was learning how to act, I was learning how to do graphic design, I was learning how to do so many different things. But I have been, the reason all those things have brought me to this woman where I am today. I know how to do Photoshop like the back of my hand. I can edit. Like it's just so many different things. Like it's that my mom have put me in order for me, just her just trying to see if I like it. That really developed me as a person, because I never knew that I used to hate going to all them doggone summer camps every summer. I hated it.
You did.
Absolutely hated it. But now I promise y'all, like, it is probably my best tool that I could have ever had is being inside of those things and learning those things at a young age. Because now people look at me like, how do you know how to do this? Like, I was taught this. I was spent the whole summer learning this, okay? And I think that it definitely opens your mind and stuff. Like, even if you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, like, still go do it, because your mind can be the one thing that can stop you.
And that's a part of taking risks, doing things that you might think you don't like, or you might think you're not good at.
You know,
I feel like that's a part of having money and having opportunities from the money.
No, but it's not all about like you don't have to, at this point you don't have to go to summer camp to take a risk. Like you can take a risk in different things and delving into it.
But his point is, she had a parent.
Oh yeah.
She got a big house, all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, she got a big house. Oh, the after party.
Okay,
she's
don't
not
put that
a normal
into
person.
Oh gosh, not a normal person. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Yeah, that the opportunities were not put in place for me because of the money that I have. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I took advantage of the opportunities, and on top of that, it's not everything costs money. Like honestly, I could have learned the same stuff that I learned on at that camp on YouTube. Yeah. But it just so happened that my mom had enough money to buy me an instructor. But it's not like I could not have done that. Would you have done it if it was
just on YouTube and she told you to watch
actually,
YouTube
they didn't teach me everything that I need to know. I then went on YouTube and learned even further how to do what I wanted to learn.
But you could say that to say it's also too you can take those risks. Like even in college now, like with different organizations like me, with Black Student Alliance, I wasn't always I was pretty good when it came to presenting and stuff like that, but being in that position pushed me to host different things and talk to people. So that also got me into being a more social person, like getting in the organization, just submerging yourself into something different, because from there you can learn how to do flyers and stuff like that. I'm not the best at it, but I know if I had to make a flyer, I know I can go to Canva, I can do different stuff, and all of that came because I got in the organization and I'm with a bunch of different people.
Jamila is a beast.
Jamila is a beast, and she didn't go to camp or nothing from it, but it was because she the president of an organization, she part of an organization, and somebody got to make the flyers.
I learned how to do flyers from Jamila.
Yes, and she learned. I
said, you know what? Show me, and she just said.
Yeah, so a lot of times it's not that you need a summer camp or need money. It's like it's the little things that you can do to make you uncomfortable that can push you into different things. So now I know, like if I had to do something for my org, I know where I can go to get Panther dining, what the budgets look like, what different stuff like that. I wouldn't have never known that if I would have been cool with just being a regular general body member of an organization. But I was like, hey, I'm finna go. I'm about to be in the e-board. So even though I have my one position, we having our meetings, our weekly meetings, and so I'm learning about all of these different aspects that I can take into different things. So if I want to start my own club on campus or something, I at least know where to go.
But growing hurts though.
Yeah.
But remember, it's like elastic. Like how you lift weights and all that. It's like that stuff hurts. Like it's like an elastic band.
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh, it hurts so much, I don't want to do it. It hurts so much, I want to do it. And so you have to get used to that stretch and feel comfortable that. But also you have to remember you're going to go back and get back to that thing. But I just want to say who my favorite superhero is, and he knows I'm a big superhero guy, comics and all that, is Batman. You know why?
Really?
Because Batman...
No
superpowers is not even about it. It's about having that utility belt. And think about every life opportunity of going to camps, going to internships, going to all those things. Those are part of your utility belt. And you know what? You just might not know when you're going to have to pull that out and throw it on the ground. Yeah. All right? So think about it. Batman, yes, he doesn't have any superpowers, but he has his belt and his mind, and he's able to use those things in every situation.
I think that's a very important part, too, because, even with, just like getting your utility belt, I'm gonna use that, because like a lot of times you don't have to even go to college and stuff like that to be successful. Like my mom, she's a business owner. She tried many times. I remember my mom signing up for online colleges and going to community colleges and stuff like that, but it was hard because she had 3 young boys. But she didn't let that stop her. She got certified to do taxes. She did the police officer thing. Like she already had experience in the hey, hit my mom up. She dope, man. Like she had all this in her utility belt. So when it came time when she didn't want to do policing no more, she like, okay, so I know I have during tax season, I got some stuff I can do. I got like it's little things you can do where you don't have to have a degree. Those little certifications that you can put on your utility belt, you can use it in different aspects of your life to get you through certain places or also to connect you with different people. So I think that's a big thing. You never too old to learn a new trade or get certified in something. So it's a lot of little things that you can put on your utility belt that can go into effect.
Like I worked at Kinko's like for one summer, and I didn't realize like learning how to do Xerox copying and not Xerox or printing or and doing colors and flyers. That's a skill that I use today. You know, working in Kinko's for 5 months.
Yeah, and then I think it's also just learning how to sometimes it's just simply walking into a room. You know how like sometimes I always say that like, you always tell me like, how do you know to go to these different things? I'm like, I don't know, Tay. I just see it and I just go. Like it's not like I just have this some psychic connection with
risk-taking.
stuff.
You've been rewarded by risk-taking. You gotta own that.
You're rewarded,
but you got rewarded.
You gotta follow up. It's about like following up on stuff. Like because like even me with my internship thing, it was an email from the accounting department. We get 1,000 emails on events and stuff like that. It's just all about you got to be like, okay, I'm finna go to this, and like you never know. It might be a buzz. It might be a bunch of bullshit. But it's okay. But it just take that one time for it not to be some bullshit. For you to put you on, and you never know where you could go from there.
There's been a lot of bus meetings
some
I've
people.
been to.
It's been some places I've been like, well, at least I got some free food. Shit.
And it's gonna be like that more than it's gonna be stuff that's actually gonna help you. Like you always tell me, like, okay, well, how do you know to apply for this and apply for that? I'm like, I never know, Tay. Like this is just something that I'm just doing because I feel like I need to.
Bro, we don't see all the times when that does not work out for us.
He does.
We don't see all the times when that don't work out. I feel you, bro.
And just because I'm not verbally telling you everything, and just because I'm not verbally telling you everything that I'm not getting doesn't mean that I'm getting everything. It just means that I'm just not telling you the stuff because I'm choosing not to do that. And maybe that's my fault for not telling you where my failures are, but I just don't do that because I just tell you the good stuff, and maybe I should start telling you the bad stuff so that you don't see that I'm always getting.
But that's also a point. I think we have to normalize the struggle too. So to let people, because I think that's another thing too that get people
the struggle.
Normalize the struggle. Like you gotta let people know, okay, this shit might not work out. So when the next person get in that point, they be thinking, oh shit, I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing it. You're not doing it wrong. You just gotta keep going.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I've never let any of my failures stop me because I didn't see them as a roadblocker. I just thought, okay, Jada, pause. You need to analyze, and then go back again. And that was my whole thing. That it's been more times I've been told, sorry, we don't have enough room for you, or sorry, you're not one of our candidates, than I have been told, congratulations, we're happy to have you here. I guarantee you I've been told that 1,000 times more than I have gotten that yes. It just so happened to be that my yeses were bigger than those no's that I got.
Boom.
And that was just all that was. And that took me a while to understand that it just wasn't for me. Yeah. The stuff that I got told no to was not for me, and that wasn't what God wanted for me in my life at the moment. And I was okay with that, and I had to understand that. And a lot of me getting through those no's was acting, because you get told a lot more in acting no than you get told yes. Exactly. So at a young age, I got used to getting told no. Yes. I really did, because I had to go through auditions every week, damn near. So I got used to getting told no, so that pushed me to keep going more and more and more.
Yes.
So I can't tell you, like, I might not verbalize you every time I tell you no, but boy, I get a lot of emails with the word no. Okay? So don't think that it's just the whole perfect world. It just so happens that the big stuff I get told yes to, and I thank God for that. But I don't want you to think that it just goes one way for me all the time, because it doesn't just go one way for me all the time. It just so happens that you just only hear the stuff that are good.
All right, y'all. We're
gonna keep going.
But we gotta go to the interview.
So we'll just do one more. So environmental consciousness. I really, really wanted to take our time to talk about this, because we were also there was something that I had seen on social media where pretty much Kroger, as well as Starbucks, as well as Chick-fil-A, are at the end of the year 2020, they are now, Kroger is going to stop using plastic bags. There will be no more plastic bags in Kroger. And Chick-fil-A and Starbucks are going to now start using metal straws that you now have to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with that being said, I just really wanted to bring this to light because I do believe that although it's a lot of stuff going on in the world today that we do need to focus on, I think that the environment is something that we definitely should speak about because let's just be honest. Winter getting colder and summer getting hotter.
Yeah, and it's places right now in the U.S. where it snowed like a week ago, and it's crazy for us to be going into June now, and it's still places where it's snowing, and there's some places where it's hot as hell, and it's hotter than it's ever really been.
And something is happening.
And it's about the environment, what we're doing, the plastic, the damn global warming, and all the gases that we're putting out. With a lot of the big causes are like the meat industry with all of the cows and the gases that they put in the air that fucks up the ozone layer.
Yeah.
You got to put it. Remember, you got to put it into perspective. Remember, industrialization happened in the 20s and 30s.
You're
so
right.
this is the last 70, 80 years.
Yeah.
Remember, back in the day, we didn't have any of those machines and factories and cars and all that.
Yeah.
So everything was going wrong. Cool. But the last 80 years, 90 years, have all these different, industries and factories and all these other things have been putting in the air, which everything that goes up, remember, comes down.
Yeah, we was actually talking to Ali about this the other day, and what he was saying, he brought up a good point, is that now that the glacier's melting because it's getting so hot, it's mixing, like the fresh water and the salt water mixing, which is causing a lot of hurricanes and stuff like that. And I was like, damn, you think all the time, like we never used to have hurricanes back to back to back to back to back, and now we're having it, and it's almost like the earth doing like a self-correct, like y'all fucking this planet up. We need to get rid of the problem. So I was thinking, I'm like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. We are fucking up the planet, and that's why it's so much shit happening where you got floods and you got hurricanes and you got tornadoes. It's because the earth is self-correcting. They like, hey, we gotta. It's like when you ate something bad, your stomach know it's something bad in there, so you gotta throw up. You gotta get you gotta get that shit out of there, out of your body for you to feel better. So I feel like if we're not being conscious of what we're doing and how we hurting the planet, how we're hurting these animals and stuff like that, the earth eventually gonna regurgitate our ass and get rid of us and be like, we gotta start over.
We animals, but also how we hurting ourselves. All these new cancers are flying all.
Goodness gracious, you're so right.
I think that's with the food industry.
Yeah. But I just definitely, I think that we're not thinking about the stuff that we do every day that definitely affects the environment. I mean, if you think about just simply getting them plastic bags, it's probably, like you said, that bird that was throwing up plastic bags. Like, I couldn't imagine seeing that because a lot of the stuff that we're doing, I do believe that it's done because it makes our lives easier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I just see, like, because I was just sitting there thinking, like, what if I go to Chick-fil-A and I got to buy me a $2 metal straw and then I got to wash it? So I'm thinking about the work that I got to go through.
God.
Not
But
how.
think on the back end when your shit getting
end.
flooded and tornadoes and
And I just think that it's just definitely going to be interesting over the next couple of years what they're going to change our lives into being because of the environment. Like, you know how we were definitely saying like technology is going to advance, but I think that technology is going to advance because the environment is going to need the technology to advance in order for us to be able to live on this earth. Because one thing that I know definitely ain't doing good for earth is all the cars that's running off of gas.
Yeah, that's why they pushing. That's why Tesla is pushing the fully automated cars and stuff like that with no gas and stuff like that. But
you also got to realize too is like think about I'm a big history guy, so I always go back. Like 100 years ago, like life expectancy of people was like
Low.
like 55, 60. That was like 100 years ago. So go back to 1919. But now people are living till like 90 to 100 years old.
Yeah,
that was unheard of.
yeah.
And so we got all these new pills and all these new things to keep us alive and all different things to do that. But think about like, and that's why, the whole insurance market and when people are trying to retire, all that thing's all going crazy now because they used to people dying at 50 and 60.
But
now people are dying till.
Oh, yeah, and Social Security and stuff. You're so right.
It used to be like.
It's using up all the funds. That's why they say it's not going to be there by the time we get old.
We going to have no Social Security. Well, I just definitely think that we just need to be aware.
I'm going to get the last of it.
So. Exactly. All right. And we
Basically.
got to pay y'all some help for y'all out. But nah, I just think that it's just definitely being aware and definitely be aware of what you're doing when it comes down to the environment itself, not just what you're doing for whatever you're doing for yourself. Like, it has to do with us being able to be this world being habitable. And that is the thing. Like, if we ain't got no earth to live on, we ain't living. So it don't even matter what you're doing for your mental health, your body health, all this other stuff. If this earth is not able to live on, we're not going to be able to live. And that's the thing. Like, we have it's up to us to be able to take care of it. Like, you can't expect for the government to do this alone. Like, this takes a lot more than just the government. It takes for everybody to make a decision towards, okay, I'm going to at least do my part when it comes to environmental consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to our interview. I know we had a lot of juicy conversations today, so it went a little bit over. But okay. So, Mr. George Chip, we want to tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us how exactly you got to the position that you are in now. And
Oh, that's great. Hi, I'm George Chip Greenidge. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, but I live in Atlanta now. I'm a PhD candidate at Georgia State University. I went to Morehouse for my undergrad. I went to Harvard for my master's. And now I teach at Georgia State, but also working on my PhD in race and urban studies and so forth. So it's been really good. And I also run a group where I met at Thomas it's called Greatest Minds on Campus, where we bring people to talk about race, class, and gender, and also social issues. And I think issue we're going to talk about today is about the SAT and the ACT.
Adversity score.
Now, has everyone had experience with the SAT and the SAT?
Yes.
And what the real new news is, as you guys know, there's that whole varsity blues that just happened with these white parents in UCLA. Rich people were, putting their kids or getting their kids grades changed. College admission scandals, a lot of different things, and this has been going on for years. All right, and so the SAT is a test where it's all kind of started in the 30s and 40s, where they try to get a lot more, once black people were freed and all this other stuff, they're like, oh no, in order for them not to go to Harvard and all this stuff, we gotta have some kind of test. And so this whole thing goes about the eugenics and all this thing about, all this stuff about, back in the day, racism used to just, it's looked at your skin, or they try to say like the size of your brain. They used to do all these different things to verify why black people and people of color were inferior and all this other stuff. But they found other tools, which are tests, and so these things. And so now the SAT, as they've kind of realized that, the SAT, what it does only tell you, it tells you what kind of car your parents drive. It's a wealth test. It has nothing to do with first year grades. They did correlations. I learned it from my good friend, Professor Lanny Guarnero at Harvard Law School. It has nothing to do with first year grade. At all. So, it's about wealth. It's about what kind of car your parents drive. It has more correlation with the car your parents drive, and then the knowledge of what people have and get and so forth. So why are we so obsessed with these tests? And what were your experiences with taking the SAT?
My experience, I've definitely shared with them multiple times. Like, I bust my behind in high school to make sure I kept my GPA high as possible, because I always wanted to get scholarships and stuff, go to this big college or whatever. So I would always just grind in high school. And when it came to the ACT, SAT time, my scores were at average, or were below average. So that got me questioning myself, damn, am I as smart as I think I am? Am I ready for college? It deterred me from doing dual enrollment, which I should have did, because I'm maybe I'm not ready for college yet. Maybe I'm not ready. And going into college and going into my senior year in the fall, I'm I probably could have took half of these college classes my junior year, sophomore year in high school. It's really not that. That's not a good indicator of how well you do, because I'm doing better than most of the people who scored 20s and stuff like that on their ACT. So I feel that's definitely a big problem, because it definitely wasn't indicative of what I could do in college at all.
Well, quickly, I wanted to say there's a school system in Boston. It's outside of a suburb called Newton, and it's a very white, affluent neighborhood, city and so forth, town. They just came out a report that over 3/4 of the kids in that town were afforded an SAT waiver, meaning that instead of you taking the test for this amount of time, you had unlimited time to take the test because their
I didn't know that
parents.
was
Were the
possible.
doctors that were prescribing they had.
So-
like,
Still failed that shit.
But I'm just saying, but your unlimited time
Not
and all
still
this other
valid.
stuff. But also, some of these parents have tutors.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are in after-school programs. They have parents, and then. So I just want people to realize that there are all these factors. People like, here are all the black kids in the hood. 1% are getting, 1% are getting the waivers, whereas here's a whole system where all the students are getting.
That's
so how are you
crazy.
really looking at? Do you see what I'm saying? Our obsession with looking at meritocracy about merit, like
It's
what
not
is
about
actually
merit.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
I
mean?
definitely.
we have an obsession in America.
Yeah,
like
and we
merit.
do. I think we all do because I think it comes when it comes down to the ACT and the SAT. I mean, I definitely realized that the SAT was way more difficult for me than it was the ACT was. But honestly, it took I took the ACT like 7 times until I got the score that I wanted to.
But you said 7
But
times.
it got me the score because eventually I was like, okay, I knew what the test was doing and I figured it out. But I had to do. My thing was like, I'm not about to sit there and I didn't want to pay for no class because because everybody that was telling me they were taking them, it wasn't really helping them.
It didn't
So
help
I
me.
just took the test over and over and over again. So I finally got familiar with it, and I feel like it's a way to get money out of you because they know that you're not going to
That's
get it the first 2
college boy.
times.
That's exactly.
That's what
It's
I feel.
a wealth
like, it's just
test. How much those things cost now these days?
Oh, I don't know how much they cost now, but I know back then it was 100 something.
remember.
It was 100 something, and
Crazy.
I mean, for you to take a number off of a test and for that to be able to tell you whether or not I should be in a college or not, that to me just seems like that was just a way for them to weed us out.
That's
And that's just
exactly.
all that was, because there's no way you're gonna know the kind of student that I am from a number. There's
Yeah.
no way.
No way.
So that's back in the day with skin color. That was racism. But now, as Lonnie Guarnier talks about, is that this is the invisibility of racism
Yeah.
by putting all these things like tests. Oh, you got to have this score. You know what I mean? But here, parents are teaching their kids to the test. They have tutors and all that other stuff, so the scores are up. But what the SAT announced 2 weeks ago is that they're now going to add something called the adversity score. I'm not sure if you heard this. It's a score that's going to look at where you have the SAT, but there's a score there from 50 to 100 that's going to see what kind of neighborhood you grew up in, what crime was in the neighborhood,
Your parents' income
parents, all,
and their education
and
level.
their education, all that stuff is going to be allocated into the score. So you might get the score, but they'll have a 50 to 100 to say what your adversity thing is. But it's interesting, though, to think about, and sociology is going crazy about this, is that just say that, you went to, just think about the big question is about, as you guys know, black communities have more police than white communities.
Definitely.
And so that crime rate, if you have 10 police officers in Southwest Atlanta, they're going to find more people that have crime. If you have 2 police officers at Buckhead, they're going to find less people that have crime with the same amount of people. So you have 10 people overlooking and oversaturating you. You're speeding, you're walking, you're jaywalking.
Yeah, it's
and
not
all
gonna be
other
that much
stuff.
crime.
And so that whole piece about crime and who gets reported and all that other stuff is aggregated higher in black communities, whereas it's not aggregated in white community because they're like, oh, we don't need that many police officers and all that other stuff there. But also, they also said in the thing is that they're not going to even include race in this
Yeah,
number.
they said that.
So you're going to get a adversity score. They're not going to include race, but they also said that you're not even going to be able to know what the score is. Only the colleges are going to know what the score
And that's the problem right there.
So then it
It's a lot. Yeah.
don't mean nothing.
They try to make this Band-Aid approach that we're going to try to make, but it's
Yeah.
just crazy that they're like, okay, we're going to give you a score, but you can't see it.
It has too much white tape.
There
It
you
has
go.
way too much white tape in it, and it makes it feel like are you really trying to help, or are you just trying to make it seem like you're helping, but
Or
really
just
not?
promote more white people into getting in college.
And so these are the things that we need your generation, our generation, to get together and start talking about. Like, we got to stop this stuff. Like, why can't we look at portfolios when people are applying to colleges and universities? Why can't there be interviews? Why can't it be about
Didn't it used to
people's-
be interviews though? Like y'all
On
face-to-face
prestigious
interviews?
ones like Harvard, you got to
okay.
do an interview.
Oh, okay.
But
you
Yeah.
know, some alumni, do the interviews, but also that's another way. Remember, interviews, you know what they do? They kind of weed you out. in those, but also.
Oh, because they see what you look like.
But exactly. But also, those also interviews also happen is one big thing is that, they come look, they're like, oh, well, that's Quincy Jones's kid, or that's Barack Obama's daughter, or the networks. And
I get what
so
you're saying.
what's happening is that the same old people are getting the same old networks in the hookup, whereas what about the kids that live in the SWAT's neighborhood, or you know what I mean? The
People
kids,
that actually need it.
the kids, like, why aren't they getting the hookup? Do you know
You're
what
right.
I mean?
That's
Here
a lot.
we
That's
are,
a lot of
they
stuff
give
that
us
go into
middle
that.
class, upper class, the same old recyclization. But what are the kids in what do you call that? What's the part in Atlanta by the AUC? The Bluff.
Yeah.
What about those kids?
You're
are
right.
they ever gonna? So these are all the discussions that we gotta keep pushing about who gets the hookup
You
and
gotta
who
keep this
doesn't.
on the table. Yeah.
Alrighty, well then we have reached upon the end of the show, and this is your girl Jada. Follow me on Instagram at @TheRealJadaDean.
This your boy Tay. Follow me on Instagram at _1TAE_.
And George Chip Greenwich, Chip Unchained, like the Django.
It's your boy Thomas. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Thomas_Jones IV.
And this is the Vill on Power 108.9.